Okay, so I guess I'll start. Thank you everyone for attending and welcome to our webinar, Activate Your Data Intelligence, Qlik and Inphinity for Budgeting and Planning. We're super excited. There was a lot of interest that was that this topic has gained, and so we're really looking forward to presenting you our pretty revolutionary product. I'll just share my presentation. We are Infinity. We are superpowers of Qlik, adding a lot of different functionalities and use cases that are otherwise some have to be used somewhere else. I want to introduce myself. I'm Angeline Corvalia, the CEO of Infinity and also eMark Analytics. And I'm here with Martin Kostic, CEO and founder of Infinity and eMark Analytics. And we have our special planning expert, Radovan Oreski, CDO and partner at eMark Analytics. As I said, we're super happy to be here. I think we're really excited about this product. I personally used it in my former position. I'm really excited about the value of it. So actually, I'll jump right in and let Martin introduce Infinity.
Thank you very much, Angie. And Angie, I have to say, like, Angie was our large customer, CFO, and she was really working with planning. It was basically a large part of her job. So I'm really happy that she's with us now, and we can really discuss like practical experience. Also, Rado was in charge and participated in multiple planning projects, really complex multinational planning consolidations and so on. So we're happy to discuss, share this experience, and also answer any questions that you might have at the end. So let me introduce briefly Infinity. Infinity is a Qlik technology partner and trusted extension developer. We've been working with Qlik for more than 10 years, really a dedicated partner. Infinity is a spin-off from Qlik's master reseller, so with a huge amount of experience in Qlik and basically everything around data, I would say. We have a global network of partners and customers, so really partners and customers on every continent, very good cooperation based on values and really value added to everyone. And our focus basically at Infinity is to develop unique products and push the boundaries of data analytics. And of course, you may be asking, like, how we do it, right? Because unique, that's pretty strong, right? So can we please go to the next slide? And I'll share more. So we have 3 products which are part of a suite that we have developed. Basically, the suite is focused on providing higher actionability on data. So working with data where the data is, and allowing users to do more with data. So not just to analyze, but also to add more actions. Because when you have some data, you're not doing the analysis just for the sake of analysis, right? You want to act. If you find something and you need to plan, you need to do something with what you have found. You need to communicate. So this is what we have built. So essentially, it's these 3 products. So it's Infinity Forms, our flagship product, which basically involves data input and collaboration, document workflows, approvals, various actions that you can trigger around your data, and it's strongly supporting planning and budgeting, and it's a core element of the solution that we're going to present. We have Infinity Flow, which is a process and workflow extension, serves for process analysis, optimization of processes with data, data visual storytelling, navigation within applications, and also using workflows and workflow actions. And then we have Mole, which is a tool to really unlock the value of files, of the unstructured content of files. So you can really analyze easily content, metadata, basically everything around your files and file content. So all of these products come together and help you better act upon your data. Yeah, so just brief introduction. Back to you, Angie. You're muted. Muted.
I'm muted. Thank you. Because
That's the
no,
most used phrase
I,
in online.
it's really. Thank you, Martin. I want to quickly give the word to Radu because I said he's our planning mastermind, the only CDO and partner at eMark. And we really thank you, Radu, for agreeing to come to our webinar. So I just want to a few words what you're expecting, what you want to give to the participants in this webinar.
Oh, I just share a few things, how we think about planning, and of course, I hope that people will understand and gain understand the value of planning and gain some actionable things that they can take and improve their planning in their companies.
Thank you. I really believe it will be the case. Yeah. So we don't want to talk. We don't want to show a lot of slides. We do. So we want to get right to the demos. Fully focus on the demos. But we do want to kind of set a framework for what we're going to talk about. Here I put up on a slide because I did have extensive 15 years in planning experience. And even, when I put the processes in limbo, what does it mean? I hear up on the upper right hand side was really example of what planning limbo was for me in my position. That even if we had everything automatized up until the very end, when that last top down came, which I don't know which one it was, the budget V25_final or budget V25 top down final AC. But it did happen once that one version got sent, put into our official tool, and one version got sent to the group. And I realized that the board had approved one version, and 1 hour before the supervisory board, that it was the wrong version, and I had to quickly adjourn a board meeting and get the right version approved. So that was almost ready, but one example where processes can kind of go wrong. I don't know, Martin and Rado, you want to mention something about what's your experience in this area?
Well, absolutely. I've been in business for 20 years and particularly interested in developing sales processes. I have I have a friend, and he was telling me a story, and he called us actually in to help. He was a sales controller, and it was a company with about 60-70 salespeople, and they were doing like regular forecasting, sales forecasting. So it was like monthly forecasting and reforecasting and analysis, and then weekly discussions and weekly updates, and you can imagine a lot of data being sent here and there, pushing through. And how did they do it? Just like many companies do, in spreadsheets, right? So they were using spreadsheets, and for the salespeople, it's kind of comfortable because you get a spreadsheet, nice, you're flexible, you can enter all information, you can even add comments right to the values, right? So then you can describe everything, which is amazing, beautiful, right? But for the controlling, it was really difficult because they received tens of various spreadsheets in a slightly different format with slightly different information, and lot of mess and really a lot of work to consolidate this, and they were frustrated. And imagine senior people, spending time on consolidating Excel spreadsheets. So they were searching for a solution, right? So that was my big experience. Actually, one of the first encounters with the big issue planning process and forecasting can have.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, a lot of operational risk, no, Rado?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I've been consultant also for quite a few years, and I just sat on too many meetings with managers, which were about like which version of spreadsheet is correct, and that's just such unnecessary waste of time and energy in this day and age when analytics can be automated and fully transparent. That's one of the most important things, I think, the transparency of analytics.
Exactly. This actually leads us perfect to the next more concrete area of why we're all here. what our solution is and why it's revolutionary. As I said, I personally, in my former position, used one version of this planning solution, and absolutely, after all the different kinds of planning I did, absolutely convinced. That's why I'm here now in Infinity. But I wanted to ask you, Martin, and you, Rado, tell us all something about the solution that we're about to see. How is it? What makes it revolutionary? What inspired you to kind of create it and present it today? So please, word to you.
Yeah, and thank you for this question. Actually, it'll be like view of the same coin, but from different sides, because I'll discuss more the business element, and Rado is the one who did it actually. So that's really amazing. So yeah, we had experience with various tools. That's true. Like in the various projects implementing various tools. But there was always some issue, which was either the price or the complex maintenance and difficulty to modify the solution. And I will also say many times like low performance of the tool. So, but the customers were still asking us to deliver something, right? So some solution. So we somehow put our brains together and developed this planning solution that we would like to share. It's true that it works where the data is. So it provides the benefits of standalone planning tools, but at the same time, it also has the benefit of something which is like really super flexible. It has the very good, very high performing capabilities. It's a high performing tool, and it's also easy to implement compared to these traditional tools. So that's how we were thinking about it. Coming back to and listening to the customers' requirements, because that's very important, right? That's very important, and it's the unique element here is that it's kind of an open source planning tool. So once users have their Qlik available, they can using Infinity functionality, they can build this planning tool. So basically, any Qlik developer can maintain this. Any Qlik power user can develop and create and modify their parts that they need to have this modified. So and it's also important that it can evolve with the needs of the company. So it can start really as a very simple use case, and that really that's how it many times starts. So we get inbound requests of customers asking like, we'd like to add some targets here, maybe some fields, maybe some budget, something very simple, nothing too complex, and you can do it, of course. Many people still using Excel in the planning world, and I can imagine this because Excel is quite flexible for being creative in how to set, how to figure out these planning values. So we are enabled copy pasting easily from Excel to the Infinity tool, and then really quickly comparing it with actions and with actuals. So that's something that's pretty unique. Can start easily, simply, and then it can grow to really complex use cases, complex planning scenarios, with the great advantage of having very good performance and being really easy to modify. And that's maybe something Rado could comment on, because if you develop a planning tool, it just starts, it doesn't end.
Absolutely, it's a never-changing process. Change is the only constant. And I was just like following up on a question, like why we started to develop this solution is like, this is also our story. We are a company as any other, and we need to plan, right? And I'm actually in two roles. I'm also like, I develop projects for our customers, and I'm also a CDO in our company. I create data analytics for our company, and yeah, we had our data in Qlik for a really long time, but we didn't implement a specialized planning tool because I found it just so inefficient to have the same data move to another tool just to enrich it and load it back. It's like what's the meaning of that? So one day I'm like, enough, because we cannot just rely on sending and searching for plans in emails, because we were doing the spreadsheet thing as well. So So we in management aligned on a few things. We started developing in a couple of weeks. We had essential planning modules up and running, like capacity and business planning with Infinity, and it's just like been a very important step for us because everything is all in one place. Just one truth for everyone. That's essential in management as well.
Yeah, I think both of you. One more sentence, and then we'll get to the demos, what everyone's waiting for. Yeah, that something both of you mentioned was actually what made the difference for me is where the data is. Yeah, Martin mentioned working where the data is, and you, Rado, mentioned how much of a bother it would have been to shift the data back and forth. And actually, this issue I was telling you about with using the wrong version of the budget was actually because the time was so limited in our budgeting. The very last top down came, and we had you had to put it in a tool, and you had to send it into the final tool, which was Qlik, and it wasn't, we couldn't do it fast enough. Yeah, so we did that last step in Excel, and then they had to put it into the tool, and that was the end of it. That's why there were different versions. So for me, this is one of the biggest selling points, biggest differences, working where the data is. Yeah. So here we are, ready. I'm going to hand over to Rado.
All right, yeah. Enough talk. Let's show something real from our kitchen. What we've been developing. All right. So I'll show my screen. Just tell me if you see it. Because I was recently on a webinar where the guy had such a bad bandwidth that he was talking and the pictures came 2 minutes afterwards. So just let me know if you see it and if you can see my screen.
I see it. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
It's reacting. Seems to be reacting.
All right, cool. Just minimize stuff that will not be helpful. All right, so I will be now in a role of some top manager. I'll start with FP&A because that's just such a standard thing that people usually associate with planning, to go with a little bit of financials. And I, as a top manager, I don't like to go too much into the weeds. I like to have set up some expectations. So let's say I have some like base, sort of like a plan pre-calculated here, and yeah, we might overshoot it a little bit. So let me just like decrease this fourth quarter by 10% and confirm it, so that I see the preview of my values. And what just happened is that I used Infinity to just do a very simple write back input of the top level top down plan, which utilizing Qlik, of course, very strong engine, immediately was transferred to the transfers and allocated in some P&L lines. And now, if I'm okay with it, I can maybe go ahead and submit this this first initial top level expectation for the next process of the workflow. What's happening in the background here is that I obviously don't want the plans to just change any time, right? So the system now locks the top down. Until somebody unlocks it, I'm not able to change it. So the next people in line can start somewhere, and I should also get an email, right, that the top down version was locked, so people get notified when something happens in the system. Moving on, let's go to P&L adjustments. Here, obviously, as a let's say operations manager, now I can focus maybe on just a subgroup of my P&L, and I could obviously like do simple adjustments of the values, but I don't have time for that. I will just shift to a yearly view where I can adjust the yearly values, and I'll change this one to 92,000 just to be not in red numbers. I don't like the red numbers. But I also need to set up some spread rule in order to distribute the number, the yearly value, into periods. Could be quarters, could be months, could be weeks, but we are okay with quarters because, just to simplify things. Qlik can handle like allocation to months if necessary. And I'll choose the seasonality as a driver because, some business processes changed, so these values might behave a little bit differently in next year than they behaved previously. And what I can also do is if I'm okay with the other numbers, I just use this little traffic light see here to just submit for review the other lines, and yeah, I could comment it obviously, and other stuff. But just to go quickly through as most features as possible. I will just now update, and stuff happened in the background. What is most essential now is that these numbers are locked for me. I cannot update them anymore because I again moved in the process further on, and as I said before, I don't want the plans to change anytime somebody decides that they want to change a plan. We need to planning is most importantly a process and some sort of workflow that needs to follow some steps in order to not create some confusion or misunderstanding. So now I would I have a little bit of help here. I will switch to a manager role, and what happened is that values unlocked for me. So if I would simulate sort of like some other user coming into the system, they would have the values unlocked and could change them further and move again in the planning, either approving the values for just another, maybe a final step in the process, or maybe send the values for rework. So these are like some meta planning features, capabilities that we of course have possible with Infinity and Qlik, and already implemented them with some customers quite successfully. So that's what very quickly. So that's what we really like. But I want to stress one more thing here, just from the start, that it's from my perspective, it's really important to always remember the ROI of any digital transformation or implementation software project, because ROI, from my perspective of such initiatives, is driven mostly by two things. One of them is usage. So how many people are using the system and how they interact with it. Also to track the changes, like who did change what, when the changes happen, in order to also, of course, have some audit track record, but also to see like if the usage is bad, then we don't have something is going on with the design or with the performance of the system. And the second very important, especially with planning aspect, is the accuracy, because increasing the accuracy of planning, that just trickles down to operations, to marketing, to HR, to finance. So if we have more accurate forecasts, then we get much more benefits downstream as well. Here, just two suggestions, like MAPE is a very good indicator of the planning, whether the plans are or are not like accurate or not. We can of course dig deeper to find really the ones that are off too much, and of course do a little bit of like a variance analysis, like what was where did we miss where the variance between actuals and the targets biggest. This will be like the first demo. Angie, do you have something to add to this?
Yeah, a few things. I have to say, this variance waterfall used to cause me a bunch of work preparing that for the supervisory board, so it's a shame we didn't have that at the time. Yeah, I do want to quickly comment on his workflow and setup sheet, if you can just quickly go to there, because this is for me one of the nicest added value we didn't mention yet when doing the planning directly in Qlik. And I said this is what really helped for us. We started simple with this kind of financial planning. We really expanded it to the different areas to be more sophisticated. And what was really nice was be able to reuse the structures, because what we have here is Rado has simulated that the structure doesn't exist, because it can be that a company has, 5 or 6 different entities or countries. There's no unified structure. So you can set that structure in your planning and then reuse it when you're getting actually the actual reporting. We did it the other way around, and that was a really lot of time saving, because if you have it in a separate tool, then you always have to make sure to remember every change has to be done twice. And the other one I'm quite passionate about is that CapEx budget, or the CapEx sheet. I have it here in my background. You can see it. Because CapEx budgeting is often involves a lot of discussion. Really important strategic decisions should be based on strategic decisions. You have the different inputs, and it's in our case it was managed by someone else. Yeah. So what I really like is that you can have all the different owners put their requests directly in here. You have the year, you have the quarter, and then of course whoever the expert is will put the depreciation years, because probably the owner won't know it. And you put the request in, and here we have that it goes directly to the CFO for approval, but you can have multiple steps. You can have the owner go in, input it, and then this CMO needs to approve it first. It gets sent to the CFO, and Rado just wrote it so nicely that it was approved by the CFO and was automatically calculated in the depreciation, and goes automatically into the plan. And how much time that saves compared to what we even did. Yeah, so really nice. Yeah, so that's my comments about financial planning. I know, Rowdy, you've got more to show us. I'm super excited about too. Yeah.
Yeah. I would just like to show 2 more applications which are about planning, because yeah, what we showed just in the past couple of minutes, that was sort of a standard way of looking at planning, right? You have some sort of form where you can adjust numbers, but we're also thinking, like, since we have this like super cool Qlik engine, which is like super powerful, we can do all sorts of other cool stuff. We can start differently. We can to think a little bit differently with about the planning. And the one way I'm thinking is like sort of modeling, not only to generate some sort of plan, some sort of forecast, but actually understand as well the drivers which form that forecast. If we are talking, let's say, about profitability, like what is influencing the profitability, and to gain like insight into those drivers. So let's say here we have of course always some data pre-calculated, some base available for us to work with. Let's say these would be the sales numbers with different sort of margins on the item or customer level or country level. And what we can do here is to set up some sort of scenario, like, okay, what if we increase the quantity? How will it change our performance? But what if we also decrease the discounts the average discounts that we do give? And what if we just really increase the salaries of our sales organization? Like, how will that influence our profitability? So there is a way to play around with these drivers, and then obviously to store that scenario via forms, to have it kept somewhere, to have it logged, in order to do sort of comparison. Like, okay, we did some previous scenario with some set of drivers, some setup of drivers. Then we did another scenario with other setup of drivers, and how did we? What are the results? How they compare, either by total values, or if we distribute them by different sort of dimensions, items or countries or cities or customers or whatever, to do an in-depth analysis. And I talked about the fact that we pre-calculate, we create some sort of base that we influence by those drivers. And that's another whole topic for discussion when it comes to planning, because that base can be generated by very many different methodologies. There are simple ones, like just really taking and adjusting the previous year values, or there are a little bit of statistics, but very simple statistics, like a regression. But if we want to do really very accurate modeling and very accurate also base calculation, then we suggest to utilize some statistical models, statistical libraries, which could be calculated by R or Python and can be loaded back to Qlik. And the calculation can even happen like on the fly as I click around, as I deep drill down to my values. The data is sent to R or Python, and I get the data immediately back, and I can utilize it further in my calculations. So here I have a chart which utilizes two different libraries. One is Holt Winters. It's calculated in R. And the second one is Profit. It's calculated in Python, and we can see that the Python one it's a little bit better, it's a little bit more closer to reality because yeah, it's a little bit more sophisticated. It also has like tens, like I don't know, how 50 or 70 parameters that can be adjusted. So it's quite a complex machine learning already, but that all depends on the, again, the ROI. What is considered enough? What brings the most return? And yeah, that drives like if we go into more sophisticated methods, or we are just okay with some simpler approach.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I did actually, we've been discussing planning obviously with lots of people lately. And just someone this morning was just mentioning to me that they don't see the value in investing in traditional planning because literally things change on a daily basis. Yeah. Czech government is meeting today, so we'll see what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm in the Czech Republic. Could change the economy, but yeah, so it's interesting to also have that possibility, you know. And this Rado opened it because he knows I really love this one too. That I can't not comment on it because doing a budgeting and planning is always difficult when you're trying to make people understand there's more than one way to make the results what they need to be. Yeah. And it sounds easier than it is. Yeah. And I love the fact that it can be visualized. These relationships can be visualized with Infinity and Qlik, because then people can understand. You're not asking, how do you calculate the sales margin? What's included? What's the difference between sales margin and full margin? Where's marketing? It's right there. Yeah, and people can see, and you can very easily visualize what impacts there are, and it's very powerful in making people understand what really can be done to improve, to really bring the value of planning, not make it just a regular exercise because your shareholder said you have to do it, but really bring the real business value in helping people understand how to make the results better. Yeah. So those were, I would say, those were our core planning things we wanted to show you. But of course, we have more. We can expand the horizon. Yeah. And Rado has another exciting application. One last one to show. Where to really help you maybe understand that you can kind of use these principles anywhere, not just like in sales and financial, where we usually traditionally think of planning.
Yeah. I have one more, just a little intro about that. We already implemented Infinity with like HR, with marketing, risk management. Like there are all sorts, like anywhere where you need user input. It can be almost called planning. Just like how we think about it is that the modern planning really happens in the back end. And if you have such a powerful engine like Qlik and such a high performant and easy to set up write back tool like Infinity, then really you can think very, very broadly and cover also some niche planning scenarios. Because in the end, coming back to current way of how people approach planning, like the really critical inputs are usually collected from people who are not dedicated data analysts or planners. They are like frontline salespeople or marketers people who like 99% of their time need to dedicate to like doing business and doing their own stuff. So really, what is important is to get only essential inputs from them as quickly as possible. And for example, one of the things we've been we developed also and implemented for one of our customers was this algorithm which calculated whether they are going to meet or not meet the required or promised delivery dates of their orders. Right, so they're a manufacturing company, and they were a lot of incoming orders, and they promised some date to customer, and yeah, they would like to know, obviously, if they are going to make it. And that's also some sort of planning, which is mostly reliant on the backend algorithm. The backend algorithm is sort of a rule-based, iterative calculation, which Qlik is of course capable of. And you need just a couple of inputs to make it happen. And those inputs would include some sort of norms for different items as well as operations. You need some capacity for of course different shifts and those operations, and also you can plan downtime, right? So something happens, or a regular maintenance. So you need to also be aware of that. And once you have this data, the algorithm can work. And since this is in BI, it's a little bit disconnected from ERP. It's not directly influencing the manufacturing. It can if you would send those data there, but let's say we want to play around with it, right? So to create a little bit of to create the scenarios and understand what's really influencing the end result. So we can do a little small changes, just one parameter here we changed. And I didn't mention it before, but we'll get back to that. Before, there were only 2 orders which were in red, like they were not meeting the required planned date, and now we have more than 50 orders which were calculated as late, like they were come too late to the customer. And of course, we can see like what's the utilization and which orders they are, and when they happened, and how did our operations perform. But this is also for me a nice example of the fact that the planning from the point of view of people who interact with it in the form of giving inputs, like entering some values, can be really simplified, can be really simple and straightforward. Yeah. And then it's important to have quite a strong algorithm behind it, and then think about the workflow and think about what needs to happen in the back end and those back end calculations.
Yeah, so thank you. I think those are all the demos for now, but of course we have so much more to offer. Whoever wants to see it, yeah.
Well, yeah,
I hope that gave a good idea of
we have
what
more
we're
from
offering.
Different areas, but yeah, that'll be too long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's one thing, of course, we're hearing all the time. Obviously, we've been speaking to a lot of customers about this. Yeah, a lot of people say to us that looks really good, but I think it's going to take a lot of time to implement, and I prefer something out of the box. Yeah. So what do you guys think about the out of the box? I think I made my statements before about that. So what's out of the box, and what we have to offer?
Martin, go ahead.
Well, yeah, Rado, yeah. I think you have really the practical view on this, so I'd really give it away.
Out of the box question. To be completely honest here, the Infinity was not developed as a planning tool. It's not like yeah, we thought about adding these planning capabilities and features there because we wanted to make a planning tool out of it, right? But it just when we researched other extensions, like the idea behind it was really simple. Like it's the most powerful. It has the highest performance. It meets the governance and security standards of enterprise companies. And with the price tag, it's just really the best bang for the buck. So it was a no-brainer.
And if you were when you were showing me what you developed, basically this set of templates, the planning templates, actually the planning solution, I was really impressed, I have to say, because you can really start simple. It's really like simple table, and really quickly, immediately. You don't have to do like huge projects and wait for years to get budget and whatever large procurement and so on. Start simple, then you can really be ambitious. Like, come on, like from a simple table to really advanced planning up to forecasting and machine learning. Like that's crazy, right? So that's where you can get. That's cool. And Angie, you still can think out of the box in a different way, right? Because you saw it. It's not just financial planning. The whole world is about, right? So there's production planning, there's HR planning, there's marketing planning. There's so many areas of planning that should be actually covered with planning in business, but are not, or are somehow in Excel spreadsheets, and there is a huge space that can be automated. So that's personally, really, honestly speaking, about what makes me impressed about this approach. And it's kind of an open source approach, right? So you have your Qlik, you have your Infinity, and then you have a set of templates, and basically you're ready to go, right?
Yeah, and what we also uncovered is that there are a lot of these standard planning features that you would get with the standard planning tool. And when we actually where during the implementations, we realized that this is mostly like just marketing. It's really about performance, really about governance, really about the workflow that you set up, and it's really about simplifications, because people don't want to be bothered with complex things. They want to get in, type their things, like get really input, quick feedback, and get out of there because they have other things to do. Those I'm talking about those key people who are actually doing the planning, whose input you need. So that's why we work with Infinity.
Excellent, thank you. So actually, we've finished what we want to say. So we want to know if anyone has any questions or comments. You can just push the little hands up button. Yeah, anyone, we can answer your questions. We've said everything. You have a question? In the meantime, while everyone thinks about what their question is, yeah, I will share you the contact slide. Of course, we would be glad to introduce personally. Now's a great time to think about planning. Everyone is tired of planning, but you have lots of time until the next planning cycle starts that we could automate for you. Yeah. So please feel free to contact us. Any one of us. Also, if you have a Qlik partner, you can contact your Qlik partner, and they can contact us as well. Yeah, we are working with Qlik partners, obviously. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and as Infinity, we would really like to recommend, if you have a Qlik partner, reach out to your Qlik partner, ask them about these capabilities. And in a sense, it's quite simple. Get your Qlik if you don't have one. Get your Infinity. Get your templates, ideally from your partner, and there you go, right? So it can be really easier than we may think, right? I really mean it. It's not a cliche. It can be really easier.
Yeah.
And now Rado will tell me that not, because it's
absolutely agree. And I just realized one thing, that you guys in Infinity are super enthusiastic about your roadmap, and how you manage to improve the product all the time, like more often than people are actually capable of digesting it. So I noticed that you produced really new cool features. If I may, this is the video which is currently available, and it shows that you will in the upcoming upgrade there will be the collaboration functionality. So we will actually be able to see like who's using the not only forms but also Qlik, right, as well in the real time. And we will also see those the names of those people, and the rows will automatically lock because somebody else is typing something there. So there will be like really real-time collaboration and interaction there, and not only with like the sort of like planning forms or input forms, but also in the chat, I believe, right? So here now, yeah, there is this commenting feature where you can like type some comments to your objects, and now it will be shown that who else is typing, who else is interacting, and you get immediate feedback, and you can also see like who's online currently using the app, which is not a feature of Qlik. Like it would be somebody could think that, yeah, this should be available in Qlik sense as a native functionality. Like you would be able to see who's using it in the real time, but it's not there. But you guys will have it, so that's pretty cool.
It's true,
It's
we have an amazing team that comes up with these things, yeah.
we speak actionability, right? So everything around it. Maybe we can start thinking about the new name for the new social network that will be available in Qlik soon.
Okay, well, I want to thank everyone. Thank you, Rado. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, thank you for attending our webinar, being interested in our product that we're very proud of. Yeah. Feel free to contact us or your partners for more information.
Sure, my pleasure.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for coming here. And still, if anyone had any question, we are here and we're not going away. So
we'll go away eventually, but very soon.
Some question coming, Angie?
Asmund.
Can we unmute Asmund?
Imogen, can we unmute Asmund?
Asmund, you're unmuted, so you just need to press it on your microphone and you should be able to speak.
Here it is. Hi, you have turned on the chat possibility, so I had to speak to you then. No problem. My question is, could you show a little bit more about the workflow part? Because there is the process of from one person entering, next one to acknowledge it, the second one to maybe approve it, and then going back again because he didn't approve it, and then show me a little bit more about how the process of the workflow of a budget can be controlled.
You're muted, Rado.
Yeah. Sorry. The workflow really depends on the company, right? So we always follow the company workflow. There's no like pre-designed workflow. I mean, there are some general ideas and best practices how to do it. But yeah, here I have a workflow which is on the line level, which might not be suitable for everybody. Sometimes people just want to approve the whole version as such, or they want to approve maybe by a division or by a cost center. So this is really flexible. It's not. There's no one way of doing it. There's just like set of capabilities of really locking the values of assigning some checkboxes, or really driving the locking and the visibility of objects and lines based on the user role.
But does that mean that you can, for example, if I'm a department manager, when I'm finished and there are several colleagues of mine which have the responsibility for different departments, when all of us are finished, then the central finance department can start to work with all the numbers?
Yeah, sure. And by finished, it means that everybody did their hit their submit button, right? So if everybody submits their plan, then tool automatically knows that, yeah, it's finished, it's submitted. We can follow the process further.
But then the CFO sees that, no, this is too much or too little or whatever, and so he needs to send it back to one of the department managers to correct his numbers.
Yeah, I'm just calling you because I've parked by the church and
Hey,
Imogen, mute yourself. Imogen.
Just make sure she's okay.
Imogen.
Forgot to mute yourself.
Sorry.
Somebody mute Imogen.
Sorry, I didn't follow the question, but so the CFO sees the current status of things, right? So I see, as a CFO, I see that, yeah, 50% of my plans are not submitted. I have only this number there available. This is the gap again, of the top down versus bottom up. I see what the gap is. Like I can analyze it, because all is in Qlik, right? So I can analyze it any way I want.
And I can create, for example, the next version of the plan where I, as a CFO, add my inputs that I would like to see in the plan, and further submit it to the people for people to review. They can see the difference, like, okay, my expectation is this, their expectation is this. Plus, there is this commenting functionality, so you can share some comments, some thoughts about it. Plus, you can also configure, since this is Qlik's native functionality, which can be triggered by Infinity, you can configure email notification or text message notification that the person will get. And if you're using some cloud tools and you would like to interact with cloud tools, you can trigger like an API task, for example, that sends or pushes some data into the tool. So depends on the configuration of the architecture. So what we're trying to say is that there's no predefined workflow. So the workflow always adapts to the workflow in the company, because it's always different, right? That's just the way it is.
Yeah, there are some similarities between companies, but the governance, the security, like framework is different. Yeah.
And what we provide. Sorry, yeah, what we provide as Infinity is basically the tool set. Also, this set of templates that we provide. We work with partners. Partners are our focus, and we have a network of partners. So we provide this to the partners, and partners are here to develop the solution then, right? So to understand the needs of our customers and develop the solution in a way that it really works. So then it's up to the discussion how the workflow should work and so on. On our end, we're making sure that the things we provide, the tools that we provide, performs. That's like number one, and it has to perform in large data, large amount of items and so on, and that it's flexible, right? So that if there is a requirement, okay, as a CFO, I need to do this, and then this, and then this, and this is the approval, and that's where I need to send an email, and that's what happens then. This must be doable, right? So if the customer makes the choice, then the partner needs to be able to execute it, right, and adapt it. So that's how we work. And of course, if there is if you're interested deeper in this, so we're happy to discuss one-on-one. So just reach out to us, and yeah, we're here and like to discuss, of course. Any other questions? Anyone? I just love Q&As. My colleagues were just kidding, were just making fun of me, like if we should keep Q&As or not. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, let's keep Q&As. So a nice
Thank goodness
discussion.
for Asmund, no? Yeah.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
So.
So feel free to ask anyone anything. Basically, we can discuss any I would say executive insights of users and power users and executives. That's mainly coming from NG, having been CFO for 15 years and board member in a large financial institution. So there's really a lot of experience here, and we can discuss any technical aspects and projects and solutions, which is basically Rado's great domain. So no question is taboo.
Questions will come.
Okay. But you can still reach out to us, of course, after the webinar. Just feel free to message us, or as we mentioned, reach out to your Qlik partner, and through the Qlik partner, we are always happy to engage. So looking forward.
Okay, so again, thank you everyone for coming. Hope that we made you even the slightest bit as excited about this as we are. Yeah, so looking forward to hearing from you on our solution, and have a good day or evening depending where you are. Yeah, we have from all over the world here. I think we can close it now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.